Welcome back, everybody. My name is All Fun and Games. I stream every day on Twitch TV, and I also make fun little videos here on YouTube. Today, we are talking about Don't Starve Together solo or with friends. And let's talk about why there's a difference between the two, because people probably are going, well, it's called Don't Starve Together, so it should be played with other people. Well, isn't that just the question? Without getting too deep into it and further down the rabbit hole, because I'm sure there's hours and hours and hours of conversation we can have on this, I'm going to keep it somewhat short and sweet, as I get asked this all the time. People look at me and they say, look, you always like to play games, specifically Don't Starve Together, with other players. Why don't you enjoy playing it solo? I would love to see you play it by yourself. Okay. So here's why you should and here's why you shouldn't. I don't know if there's really like a pro and con list specifically, but I'll go on my personal experience. Here's why. Don't Starve Together, in my opinion, is meant to be played with people. I think at the end of it, when you finally have became accustomed to the game, for sure, you can do whatever you want. If you want to play solo since the first time you get the game, since the end of the game, you can definitely do that. But I do think the game tries to encourage you to play with others. Let's talk about Wartalks, for example. Wartalks' whole vibe is actually going around and healing people and getting sanity for actually healing other players. Warly gives yourself a big buff to other players for giving it nice and spicy food and just overall making people happy. You have other players that obviously benefit from talking to each other. Wendy and Wartalks work well together. Wormwood and everybody work good together. Wickerbottom makes everybody happy depending on as long as you're not making the moon show up every night. There's plenty of players that are out there actually to give buffs to other players that can obviously be talked about individually. But the thing is that if you do like playing with players, go and play with players. If you don't like playing with anybody, you can still play by yourself. Don't Starve single player is still an option. However, it's still missing a lot of content compared to Don't Starve Together. So that's why most people that have migrated from Don't Starve to Don't Starve Together tend to still play by themselves. And of course, the option is always there because people do kind of like playing games by themselves. Why do you play Minecraft by yourself? Because you enjoy it. You don't want anybody to come into your world and mess up your awesome masterpiece that you've done. But I do think you should really consider playing Don't Starve Together with other players because it does bring in more ways of enjoying the game. You might have yourself playing as Wartalks by yourself, and out of nowhere, a Woody joins in and starts helping you chop down a bunch of trees. You might be playing Woody by yourself, and then all of a sudden have a Wilson join in and start telling you different cool stories. The world is really endless with how you can make this work, but when it comes to things like that, it's always good to partner up with each other and get better and better and better at the game. So, when I first started playing Don't Starve Together, I had no choice but to play by myself because I had nobody to play with. So as time went on, I was like, this game is very, very tough. And then eventually I decided to start streaming, which then brought a ton of people to my world. Am I saying go out there and stream on Twitch or YouTube to get people to join you? No, that's not necessarily something that you have to do. Although, if you want to do that, feel free. But what I'm getting at is that the game, in my opinion, is meant to be played with others. There's a reason why Klei literally gives you a free copy of Don't Starve Together to give to a friend to play with you. There's a reason for that. If they thought that you didn't need to play the game with another person, they would say, go out there and have a fun time, and that's it. But I think that they're trying to tell us, well, this game is about finding other players to play with. Now, if you're sitting there watching this video and going, I don't have anybody to play with, so that's why I don't play with anybody. Well, guess what? You are 100% invited into any worlds that I play on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever. I don't ever want anybody to feel like they don't have anybody to play with, so if that is you, you are 1000% welcome to join me anytime. And I always mention that in my videos because it's true. I don't like playing by myself, and that's kind of how it is. So, now, I've been talking a while just about random stuff. Let's get down to why you should and you shouldn't play with others. Why you shouldn't. Well, obviously, if you want your world to stay as is and nobody touch it, you know that it's probably better to just shut down your world. Also, you might learn more things just playing by yourself. How to fight bosses, how to do things like that by yourself is obviously a challenging experience. But why you should play with players other than yourself is because you can have easier ways of killing those bosses. Go out there and fight the dragonfly together, fight all the seasonal bosses together, and not feel like you're by yourself in the end. Okay, The other reason why you want to play with other players is so you can get used to their characters. Maybe you've never played Wanda before and you start to see a Wanda traveling around and doing lots of damage to different creatures. You could eventually learn how they play, adapt, and then switch out and have somebody play as your character while you play theirs, thus making sure that you're there to learn and not feeling so much, obviously, as a void when you're not getting food. That's another thing. You might have a player joining who loves to farm. They love playing Wormwood and all they want to do is sit there and till the soil every day. That's another reason to play with players. You'll see lots of different formats like that and lots of different people that enjoy joining the game and doing different things. My one recommendation, never trust a Wes. I'm kidding. Or am I? But seriously though, go out there and play the game how you want it. It is your game after all. You can play it modded, you can play it non-modded, you can play it with other people, you can play it with solo. In the end, it's really up to you. My recommendation though is give it a try with other players. You'd be surprised. Now, this doesn't mean go out there and find a random public server to join in because it's not really the way to play, but it is some way of a way to play. Add friends. Go on to a Clay public server, ask somebody to play with you on a different server entirely, and then you're good to go. Find a Twitch stream. Ask the streamer to join in their world. Things like that. Maybe try to, if you're a new player, maybe try to avoid a world that's at 1,000+ days and stick to worlds that are 100 or less so you feel included in the production of that world. But overall, just play the game how you want to play it, and in the end, you'll have fun. So my recommendation definitely is play the game together. You tell me down below in the comments if you prefer to play solo or with others and the reason why, and maybe in the comments you can ask or just put your name down there and say, hey, add me on Steam. I'm more than willing to play with people and you have no idea, but people might end up adding you. That's what the game is all about. Have a good one and I'll see you in the next video.